Good evening, everyone. First tonight, a story we were first to report on social media earlier today. The UB researcher who was taken into ICE custody for weeks despite having a legal work visa has posted bond and is back here in Western New York. We've been following Dr. Shovgi Huseynov's case since he was arrested by federal agents back in early January after he accidentally took a wrong turn near the Peace Bridge, went toward Canada, and then was detained as he tried to re-enter the United States. Dr. Huseynov posted a video on Facebook speaking in his native Azerbaijani. Now, according to a translation from Investigative Post, he said, quote, "I want to thank each and every one of you for being concerned and curious about me these past few days. It means a lot. I have returned to a normal routine. Everything is under control." He also posted this picture with his wife and 2 children, noting that his daughter video called him each and every day he was in custody out in Michigan, and quote, "She never let her father be forgotten." The University at Buffalo put out a statement saying the UB community is very pleased with the federal immigration judge's order last week granting his release on bond from that detention center in Michigan. The statement saying he is back in Buffalo and, quote, "The university will continue to provide appropriate support to Shovgi and his personal attorney as his case proceeds through the federal immigration system." The president of the United University Professions Union telling me this.
Obviously, we're overjoyed. Very happy to hear that news. It should not he should not have been taken into custody and sent away from his family and from New York State at all. I welcome the news, celebrate it. Let's hope he stays in Buffalo, continues to do the work, and certainly enforce the law against those who violate the law, whether they're immigrants or not. But at the same time, this news is phenomenal. It's great. Justice is being served. Hopefully his rights will continue to be respected. And like I said, he'll continue to add to our community.
Meanwhile, questions remain about the source of all of this. The traffic design right by the Peace Bridge that is so confusing that on most days, more than a dozen drivers are accidentally going into the U.S. Customs area with no way to turn around. John Rivera joins us here tonight. He represents the 149th District in the State Assembly and will be running for State Senate in a primary this June. Thanks so much for being here with us. Let me first ask you, what is your reaction to the news that Dr. Huseynov has been released from this facility in Michigan and that he's now back here in Western New York?
Well, I'm certainly happy for him and his family. I know that they had to be going through a tremendously difficult situation that no one really should go through. I think it sort of is a further example of the approach of this federal administration and its sort of action and no questions. And you know, it's unfortunate that this person had to be detained and moved out of the state. His wife and family, I'm sure, here were struggling with it. But it just goes to show you how haphazard the approach has been between the Border Patrol and ICE agents.
You and your colleague, State Senator April Baskin, sent a letter to the state DOT questioning this design, which I know dates back, like a decade now, but I was so shocked to learn that every single day we're seeing people accidentally go into the customs area. And when there is this sort of immigration crackdown happening, that can have very serious consequences. What have you learned about the design and potential changes?
Yeah, I tend to think, well, first, we reached out to the Peace Bridge Authority, and, it's to what wasn't really much of a surprise. They sort of passed the buck onto state DOT and the city of Buffalo. And I think at the end of the day, there's a very expensive solution to this problem, and there's a very cheap solution to this problem. I think that that the Peace Bridge Authority should create a policy and appropriate procedures to make it so that if a person accidentally makes that turn, thinking that perhaps they're going onto the 190 North or perhaps going around Porter around the roundabout and instead accidentally cross over into the plaza, that we should afford them the ability to somehow, exit out of the plaza without having to go through all the rigmarole and truthfully without congesting more of the problem and creating bottlenecks. Right on the corner or right at the intersection between Vermont and Busty, there's a gate that the Peace Bridge Authority can open and close. And I think if the numbers are true that this is, 20 cars a day, more or less, according to the New York Times article, that we should be able to help folks out. I mean, I'm sure it's affecting people that are visiting the Peace Bridge for the very first time, but it's definitely still affecting people that have been in Western New York for decades. I've had family members, constituents call my office and regale me with the same sort of stories, that they've made the wrong turn and ended up in Canada and really weren't prepared, didn't have their passport on them. And, you can see where it just adds to the congestion. And like I said, there's a $1 million solution to this, and there's a $10 solution to this. And I'm hopeful that they can come up with a process to allow people to leave the plaza by opening their gate in extenuating circumstances.
So you started these conversations. What is the next step? What can you and other state lawmakers do in terms of if you don't see progress in the near future on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it begins with state DOT, and then it really goes to the governor. I mean, there are appointments that the governor, the attorney general, and other entities that are New York State connected appoint to the Peace Bridge Authority, and I'm hopeful that they are advocates of what's happening on the Buffalo side of the border. I think for years the Peace Bridge Authority has been, really run by the Canadian side, and it's left us with a sort of a lackluster plaza and these sort of lingering issues. And as you said, this is 10 years ago that this was built, and if this is still happening, it means that we got to find a solution.
We will stay on top of it, as we know you will as well. State Assemblyman John Rivera, thanks so much for your time, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you.